All right, starting the second half, our next speaker or presenter, John Giordanengo. Did I say that right?
No. Close. You have to use your hands.
John Giordanengo. Colorado Northern Regional Director for Wildlands Restoration Volunteers. John has worked for the Colorado 14ers Initiative, the Blue Mountain Environmental Consulting, and the City of Boulder. John's had a hard time keeping a job. No. John began his restoration career as a volunteer planting shrubs and trees along the Green River in Washington State. He's been hooked ever since. He completed his MS degree in restoration ecology from Colorado State University in 2000, has helped to plan and implement over 150 restoration projects ranging from riparian and wetland restoration to road closures, obliteration, post-fire restoration, alpine restoration, and bringing Tony back to a youthful-looking man restoration. John serves on the planning committee for the High Altitude Revegetation Workshop, the board of the Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed, and has served on several NR committees and boards throughout Colorado, including Colorado Native Plant Society and the Quetzal Foundation. At this time, if you'll give John a warm PK welcome, the title of his presentation is Rivers, Floods, Communities, and the Element That Binds Them All. John?
Great. Well, thanks again so much, everybody. And yeah, I tried my best to restore Tony, but it just didn't work. Yeah, that's what we did. That's what we said. So they say that a river is a carpenter of its own edifice. Over the eons, it carves valleys, slowly delivering sediment to the seas. And this is such a great example of that. Unfortunately, I can't tell you where this is because I stole it from the internet. Shh, don't tell anybody. And as you know, the floods are the theme. When a flood happens, we are delivering lots and lots of sediment from our mountains out to the plains. This is something that's been going on for a long, long time. This is in the city of Loveland. This is the Big Thompson River. You can actually see the old channel way over here, and the new channels being cut way over here. So it just tells you, and you experience this in Longmont as well. So there's this idea of rivers doing power. They're powerful things, power being work over time, right there. Only we talked about them doing work over the eons. When a flood happens, they do work over a very, very short time, and we've all experienced this, carrying massive amounts of sediment out of the mountains. And now, when we think of work, we can also think of force and velocity. This is in the narrows of the Big Thompson Canyon. When we actually add a road to the canyon, we're actually increasing the force of the water, and it has tremendous cutting power. It is dwarfing this. This is actually a federal highway. This is Idlewild Dam, further up the canyon, which is no longer there. They've removed this dam because of the damage and are returning it to the natural river corridor. And this is going to be one of those pauses where it just seems like it takes forever to get to the next slide. I could hide this. And of course, now when all of that sediment gets scoured, we think of rivers as scouring, right? That's how the Grand Canyon was formed. That's how that first canyon was formed. They scour these things over time. What do you think happens to all that sediment? We never think about that part, do we? But here we are again in downtown Loveland, where millions of dollars were occurred in damage. But here's that sediment. We call this aggradation. This is Moria Pond, one of the best wildlife areas and birding spots in the Front Range. The pond is not there anymore. There's a little trickle. And this is right along Sylvandale Ranch, if you're familiar with that. A massive amount of aggradation. It's such a tremendous problem. It's going to take a coalition to solve this. A coalition grew out of this, a matter of fact. We were asked to help build and lead the coalition to stabilize banks in the short term, look at at-risk properties, restore river function. We've actually changed our rivers tremendously over the years with all of our developments along the rivers. And looking at designs that reduce risk. I love the definition of a coalition. I always have to look these things up. Like, what does coalition mean? A pact among individuals or groups, each of which is operating in their own self-interest. Self-interest. But the beautiful thing is you realize that you can only serve your own interests by serving others. That's the important part of a coalition. And why are these coalitions so powerful? Why are they so helpful? What we've learned is that just coordinating, we had 70 agency staff in a room the other day. It takes a lot of coordination. Leveraging resources. As a nonprofit, we can raise grant funds to leverage limited resources to help landowners without resources. We're also an impartial body. We did a rapid assessment on the river. This is Loveland. This is getting up on the North Fork. This is Estes Park. The red, orange, and yellow are in really bad shape. The greens and the blues, there's a little bit of blue, are in good shape. So as you can tell, this was a very damaging river. This also aligns with how poorly they found the fish distribution in the river when the Parks and Wildlife did their surveys. The damages are real. This is water diversion that is providing clean water and drinking water for residents and growing crops. Power generation station. This is Kamamoto Park again, where I used to live and walk to the park, to the pool. These are serious impacts to the community. One of the things about rivers and about water is that it's a continuous stream of a very powerful source from top to bottom. And anything you do along this river is going to impact something. This little piece right here can scour across here and wipe out an entire stretch of highway. It takes one little rock or a house, whatever it might be. This bridge was not wide enough. As the flood waters came down, Dan and Paula talked about this earlier, they catch debris. It sent the river this way and scoured these areas out. They were not in the floodplain. Many of these houses are now dangling off cliff sides because of a poorly constructed bridge. We have federal central lands. We have a federal highway managed by the state. We have private property over here and over here. And we have county bridges and roads. Can you imagine all of these agencies trying to do something for their own little part? They have to work together. The coalition helps this to happen, helps us to work together and share resources to come up with the best solution. There's a 3 million gallon potable water facility for the city of Loveland here on one side of the river, and on the other side we have a ranch. And we cannot address restoration on one side of the river without looking at restoration on the other side. It just cannot happen. So it requires us, again, working together. And that brings us to the water slide principle. It's my favorite principle. A river is a continuous course of water from spring to ocean. Whatever happens at a given point along the stream will impact your neighbor up, down, and across the stream. Or it might even impact yourself. So before doing anything to the stream, consider your neighbors. That's the water slide principle. There are miles of stale habitat all along Highway 34, the St. Vrain drainage as well, and a lot of the drainage is up the Front Range. We look at this as an opportunity. One of our most important goals for the coalition is to improve the function of the river to where it's better than it was before. This is a great opportunity. We're going to engage thousands of volunteers over the next couple of years, not only cleaning up debris, but doing the actual restoration work to bring back those plants. And so we really hope that this community can get involved with the city of Longmont or the city of Loveland, your neighbors, and help to make this happen. And another one of those pauses. And there will be thousands of plants getting your feet wet, bringing back the habitat that's so important for all wildlife, including the fish. The willows, the cottonwoods, the birds that use those corridors. 80% of the wildlife in Colorado require healthy riparian, these riverside habitats, for some part of their life cycle. And that's it. So thanks.
Oh, okay. Thank you. A lot of water. A lot of water.